Welcome in to the Sports Dreaming Podcast. I'm Billy Bissell, going to be alongside Evan O'Brien, and we're talking about the 2024 NFL Draft. We got a couple good topics coming up, talking about obviously highly taught out quarterbacks. We got teams and their trade options, teams that we actually see potentially trading up, looking at potentially this could be the best quarterback draft class since 2020, and overall predictions on how the top 15 picks will actually go. So we got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. Really excited. The whole buzz about the NFL draft for the past week has been huge, and been talking about it with a lot of my friends, in class, outside of class, no matter what. It just kind of seems like the hot topic right now, and it's been long awaited. So really excited for the draft.
Yeah, I'm not that big of a football guy, but the Giants have been struggling, and we need a wide receiver. It's going to be tough. We'll talk about that later on. But first things first, we're going to talk about the loaded QB class that we have here in 2024.
Yeah.
And I believe we're going to go through the top 10. I personally don't have top 10, but we're going to go through yours and see what your opinion is.
Yeah, so this quarterback class, it looks on paper really, really good. Just all the hype coming into it from college and from these guys playing in big games. It just seems like we're going to have a really fun class of guys who really have a lot of potential NFL talent. So starting, we got 10 guys right now that we can see going at some point in this draft. And for my number one QB.
Go to 10.
You want me to go through? Do you want to start with 10? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll start with 10. Okay. We'll count it down then. So I have Michael Pratt as number 10 from Tulane. I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about him. I'll be fully honest, don't know a lot about him. And I can kind of leave it at that. Michael Pratt, in terms of aura from name, doesn't have a lot of aura. Michael Pratt does not scream to me NFL caliber quarterback. I apologize, Michael. I feel like a guy even like Spencer Rattler or J.J. McCarthy. Those are real quarterback names. Those are real QB1 NFL names. And I'm not familiar with your game, Pratt, but just off of that aura alone, I got to put you at number 10 behind everyone else.
One thing I know about Pratt is I've heard him as a sneaky person. In this quarterback draft class, he's not going to be the worst, but right now you do. You have him at 10, but hey, he's going to prove you wrong.
I hope he does. No, and that's the thing. I don't want to try and prey on anyone's downfall, but out of all these guys, because it's a loaded class, out of all these guys, I think he is the worst one coming into the NFL. Moving on to number 9, Jordan Travis. I think now this guy I know a little bit about. Obviously, he absolutely snapped his leg in one of the games during college football that actually almost cost him his entire career. Never mind just the season, but was an absolutely brutal injury. And he was a good player, really, really good player. I just feel like it's a little early for him right now. I think that given another year's time playing in Florida State, recover from that leg injury, I think he could really be he could be up there in the top 10 next year's draft. He looks really, really good, really athletic. And I'm excited to see how well Florida State can actually do with him, because it's a completely different team after he was gone. I think they did manage to win a few more games, but he was the backbone of Florida State, and I think he's still got a little more room to grow. That's why he's down at 9 right now. I don't really see him as entering as an NFL quarterback right now, but I like him a lot.
First off, Roll Tide. FSU, sorry about not making the playoffs, but hey, 12-team playoff next year. It's going to be nice. Sucks that his injury, because I think he might have been up there, right over Jaden Daniels as a Heisman. But as right now, once he recovers and gets back into shape, hopefully he has a tremendous NFL career.
Absolutely. And we only hope for the best for him. I want to see him really succeed. So hopefully he recovers from that injury and he's back to playing like himself. Number 8, Spencer Rattler, guy from South Carolina, transferred from Oklahoma. He's got some arm talent. I remember coming out of high school, I think he was actually the number 1 ranked quarterback going into college, I believe. And he was going to be like a top 5 pick, I remember. That was his projection. It didn't work out that way. He got hurt. He only played a few games his first year. Didn't really do too well in Oklahoma, and then eventually would transfer to South Carolina for the last 2 years. And then he played pretty well. He had, looking at his stats right now, over 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, threw 8 interceptions at a QBR of 66. So he finished out strong, 147.7 rating. So he finished the season out in his college career strong. He's definitely got some arm talent. I've seen him throw the football. It looks really solid. I'm worried that kind of that big hype really just died down afterward. I haven't heard too much about him. Haven't really seen his name really come off the board in the first, definitely not the first round, maybe in the second round, but, he definitely has some arm talent. The arm talent is definitely there. I've seen a lot of good clips of him throwing the deep ball down the sideline. So I think Spencer Rattler is definitely a very talented quarterback. I just don't really see him as one of the top echelon guys in this draft.
Yeah, South Carolina Gamecock. I don't know. Bama just beats up on them. He hasn't really been there, as per se, as the games I've seen him play. But I have no clue. He's up there with Pratt, man. I have no clue about your game, man. Sorry.
Yeah, he was really good coming out of high school, and it looked like he actually could have changed Oklahoma, actually, but things really just didn't pan out for him in the beginning. I'm glad he actually transferred and found some good success as a Gamecock. But moving on to 7, I have Joe Milton III. Now, this guy is a freak. 6'5", 235, just physicals alone, he's a monster. Threw for 2,000 yards, did have 20 touchdowns, though, 70.4 QBR. And this was his really first full year at quarterback where he really just got the reins. And statistically, he probably doesn't match up with a lot of these other guys, but I think this is just overall eye test and talent. I believe he threw the hardest ball out of any quarterback in the NFL Combine. That alone tells me a lot. And I saw some of his passes in the Combine, just absolute nukes from midfield down the sideline to hitting his receivers in stride. I think he had a clip that kind of went viral at the NFL Combine where he kind of did a Steph Curry-esque throw where he threw the ball and just turned away, didn't even look like it, and dropped it right in the bucket. So the kid's definitely got some aura. I love using the word aura. The kid's got some aura. I love Joe Milton III. I think he's going to be really good. And my friends actually kind of put me onto the bandwagon, so I'm excited about Joe Milton. He is really talented. The arm is definitely there.
I don't know much about Milton at all.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, not a lot of people know about him, but one of my friends kind of told me about him, and then I kind of saw some of the stuff that was going around on social media, and he writes it home for me. Number 6.
Yeah, hopefully I can find that clip,
go ahead.
and I'll insert that into this video.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see if I do that.
That'll be pretty good editing right there. Number 6, I have Michael Penix Jr. Now, another guy, you want to talk about arm talent, he's got arm talent. He, throws from the left side, anything from the left side always looks a little prettier. I can't even lie. Michael Penix has a rocket for an arm. His deep ball accuracy, just from watching him from the games leading up to the championship game, he just airs it out. He had well over 4,000 passing yards, led Washington to an undefeated season. He's an elite quarterback, and he's someone that's probably going to be taken in the early second round. Could even be late first. I like him in the late first, to be honest. He's just a lot of talent. His major gripe that I've seen a lot of people talk about is when there's pressure in his face, he tends to fold. He tends to not really take the pressure well. And I mean, as the most quarterbacks do, obviously. But he's a lot more noticeable where he kind of just freezes up, and he might take a sack where he couldn't make a play, but he's not a guy like Jaden Daniels who's able to make a play and scramble out the pocket when things get hectic. So Michael Penix, big, talented arm, with a lot of accuracy downfield. It also helps when you get one of the best receivers in the class, Romo Dunze, outside, but really good quarterback that I like a lot.
Yeah, his arm talent's there. He needs to develop something around the pocket to hopefully make plays and move his feet around to get the first down, but when it comes to getting someone the ball, perfect spot, perfect spiral, he has that talent for sure.
He threw 4,903 yards, had 36 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 84.1 QBR. That ranks 6th amongst the registered college quarterbacks. A lot of good stuff from him. Now, top 5. I got Bo Nix at number 5, kid out of Oregon, the super senior, even though actually I think Michael Penix played more years than, was in college at least for more years than Bo Nix, which is shocking because I feel like Bo Nix has been playing for at least 10. Bo Nix, listen, that offense was a lot of short pass stuff. You couldn't really see how good his arm was, but there are instances where you definitely saw it. Now, he still, I think, threw for well over 4,000 yards as well. So even though their offense didn't really allow him to completely air it out and just kind of free willy-nilly like Drake May and his offense, he can still do it. And if there's a throw, and if you want to look for a throw to see if Bo Nix can make it, the film is definitely there. He's been playing and been starting at Oregon for 5 years. So if you want to look for film, it's going to be there. He's proven himself enough to be definitely a top quarterback in this league, or at least a startable quarterback. I think he's earned that right. And, I was a little hesitant on him at first. I saw his performance in the Senior Bowl. It wasn't really that great, but I think he could be. The film is going to be there. He looked really accurate. He's got tenure. He's a grown man. We're talking about grown man strength. Bo Nix definitely has that. So Bo Nix, top 5 quarterback in this draft.
I feel like having Bo Nix in the conversation around a couple years or so, he has been Oregon's guy. He has been slightly compared to Mariota in his days at Oregon, but if I had to make my own list, I might take Penix over Nix in this situation.
Yeah, and I'm not mad at that. I feel like I'm not mad at that. I see that a lot. But I just want to clarify, actually, he didn't play all 5 years at Oregon. He actually beat 3 at Auburn and 2 and then Oregon. But this following past year, he threw for 4,500 yards, 45 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, 91.2 QBR, which was 2nd amongst all the quarterbacks. Kicking ball. Kid can play. I mean, no question, especially in the college level. So, yeah. Bo Nix for me is 5.
Yeah, rip the Pac-12 though, man.
Hey, man, R.I.P. Seriously, it's gonna be really interesting next season to see what that's like. Number 4, J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy, he's a winner. Like we if there's one thing that we know, he's a winner. I think I saw one of those Instagram posts that showed, I think they showed something for Trevor Lawrence and how little he's actually lost in his football career. J.J. McCarthy is one of those guys who just never lost. I think he has maybe 3 total losses or 2 or 3 total losses in as long as he's been playing competitive football. He just doesn't lose. Wherever he goes, they win. And he looks really good. Like he obviously led a national championship team, led a team to the national championship, and they won. Now, did he have a really good team alongside him? Absolutely. We know this, but the quarterback still is the leader. The buck stops at QB. And if you can, so you can't just take that away from him. He knows how to win. I've heard a lot of good things about him. This pro day obviously looked really, really good. I don't want to base everything on the pro day, obviously, but J.J. McCarthy looks really good. He could be a really good prospect. I know a lot of teams are looking to maybe trade up for him. We'll talk about that later, but J.J. McCarthy is my 4th best quarterback.
Yeah, as while Ohio State has been on the downfall, Michigan has been on top, and it's been just J.J. McCarthy's show, man. He's been tearing it up in the Big Ten, and we just got to see soon where he lands up and where city he's going to tear it up then. Absolutely, and
one of my best friends is from Ohio State, and he hates it. He absolutely hates how much Michigan has just been on top for Ohio State, because that rivalry is huge. That is a big time. They don't even say the word Michigan. They just say Ishigan. They're playing Ishigan. They don't even say M. So, yeah J.J. McCarthy.
Better take out the in the Ohio State.
Right.
The Ohio State.
Right. Number 3, Jaden Daniels for me. Now, I think Jaden Daniels' draft position could be up in the air. In my mock, yeah, I kind of have him in the normal spot where he seems to be going. But Jaden Daniels, he could fall. He really could, but the kid looks good. I mean, he has a lot of great tools. The running ability is incredible. He can still pass from the pocket and outside the pocket. He's a versatile athlete that is just a guy who will make plays for you. I don't see him as well as May and Williams, but as of late, I've been kind of going back and forth on, is he actually really like that? I think he actually is really like that. So Jaden Daniels is my number 3 quarterback in this draft. I like him. I do like him. The rushing ability is so there. I've heard he's better a passer than Lamar was out of college, even though I think Lamar was a very good passer at Louisville in college. But Jaden Daniels, he looks like a really, really good runner and just a great dual threat. Any offense would be, would love to have him on their team leading the helm.
Yeah, I have no problem with Jaden Daniels at 3. Just besides really the LSU offense as a whole wasn't there, especially with their defense, but he has ripped the ball plenty alongside Neighbors, right? With Neighbors, future Giant, hopefully.
We'll see. And Brian Thomas, too, was also the other receiver there who was a stud, who was really good wide receiver. So he had weapons. And that a lot of people tend to kind of take that away from the quarterback, which makes sense. If you have really good receivers, it could cover up from some of your mistakes. But he definitely he lived up to it. So now for my second ranked quarterback in the draft, I got Drake May. Drake May, I think, is a guy who just has a lot of good upside. And he might not be able to start right away. But the arm talent is there, man. He was a part of a UNC offense that kind of let him just flow around and just try and make these acrobatic plays and just win the game. And he actually, he did the best he could with that given situation. Now, that's definitely not the best situation for any type of quarterback, any college quarterback. But he did his best, man, and he looked really good. The throws that I've seen him make are almost Mahomes level, man. It's insane. I'm definitely not comparing him to Mahomes, but in terms of the throws and the off-platform plays, extending out the pocket, even scrambling a little bit, he's got it. Drake May has got it, and I like this kid a lot. Honestly, in any other draft, I would have him going number 1, but. We have another quarterback in this class who's definitely taking that. But Drake May is really, really good. And I think he's going to be a franchise quarterback in the next few years.
Yeah, Drake May, he did his job, man. He did his job at UNC. It's not a prestigious program as LSU, Michigan, all these other ones that are getting picked up by good quarterbacks. But he did his job. Nothing more as you could expect. And it just has to translate well in the NFL. It's going to be a tough situation for him.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens. I hope he could be able to play behind a quarterback for a year. Because I think that's the best thing for any quarterback. I don't care who you are. But this next guy, he might be able to go in day 1. Not might. I'm pretty sure he will be able to go in day 1 and make a name for himself. Caleb Williams is my number 1 ranked quarterback in this class. We all know it. He's a stud. He can make any throw outside the pocket and just continue to extend plays. USC's O-line was terrible last year. He was left out there to die almost every single week. And he still made it happen. He was making insane throws. Some clips that I've seen him make of him scrambling out to his right full speed, throwing on the dime across his body on the sideline in a perfect spot only his receiver can get to him. It's insane. Caleb Williams looks extremely good. He looks, he's still got a little bit of raw talent. He's going to make mistakes. So does every rookie quarterback. Caleb Williams is for sure the number 1 pick in this draft and the best quarterback in this draft without a doubt. Kid's going to be a stud.
Yeah, he's the best quarterback in the draft, but it's going to be tough. Right now, he's projected to be a Bear. There's been all sorts of stuff with him not really wanting to be there. Is this going to be like an Eli Manning type of situation where he just switches the team? But it's not going to be pretty right out the gates for him first 2 years probably, but he'll get it done. He'll stay there. But once they develop around him, he's going to be that guy for the Chicago Bears.
I will be shocked if we have an Eli Manning situation where he doesn't want to play for the team and he forces his way out of the Bears. Because I feel like the Bears haven't done a bad job putting people around. They brought in Keenan Allen, DJ Moore from last year. They got help there, and I think in this draft, if they can try and draft another O-lineman, even more help, or even another receiver, I think Caleb Williams is going to stay. And I don't know. Like, all the outside noise to me is really meaningless. I really, unless it's something so severe, and I haven't just seen that yet, I really think that the outside off the field, quote unquote, antics don't mean a thing. The kid wants to play ball, and he's going to ball out doing it. So those are the top 10. Those are my top 10 rankings going into this year's NFL draft. So there you go.
All right. Next topic we have, first off, Billy, what's your favorite team?
I'm a New York Giants fan. So
Same here.
Big Giants table over here. This could be a Giants podcast if we want it to be, but both Giants fans, yes.
All right. With the Giants, what is the best option? If not, what's the best trade up for the New York Giants?
Honestly, man, it's tough because I've seen a lot of mock drafts of a lot of things and a lot of situations of us. It's honestly between two of us trading up to get a quarterback or us drafting a wide receiver. So it's not really a lot of options, but of who are we going to draft? That's the question. I keep telling my friends this. This is the first real draft. I have no idea what the New York Giants are going to do or what's really going to happen in this draft. There's for sure, like Caleb Williams for sure. Drake May, he's pretty locked in there. The rest of it, I have no idea what's going to happen, especially with the Giants. I have no idea. They could even just get an O-lineman. This is going to be so interesting tonight, and that's going to happen in about 2 hours as we're recording this podcast. But I'm so excited to see what we do. And listen, like I've got to the point where I don't really feel the need to like be all disgruntled about who we draft, whatever. But we can go either way. For the Giants, and to answer your question, I'm sorry to go off. I went off on a little tangent, but I think the best option for us is to draft the best wide receiver available. Whether that's Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze. If there's a chance we get Marvin, I don't think so, but I think it's getting the best wide receiver available. If we can trade up to get Drake May, I would like that. That's my second, but I think getting the best wide receiver available just makes the most sense, and a real explosive one, just so we can have him on the team for whatever quarterback we have out there, even for Daniel Jones last year, even if it's Drew Lock. Getting that for sure one is important, and I think is the most important thing for the Giants to do.
That's interesting. You said trade up for Drake May, not McCarthy, even though May most likely will be picked up along with Daniels in the top 5.
Yeah. I mean, I just watched a recent mock draft with the Giants trading up to get May, and that's been in talks about the Giants actually trading up to get May. If we don't have to give up a pretty penny, and let's say the Commanders take Daniels, I think that's a higher possibility of the Giants trading up to take at 3. I don't see them trading up at 2 with the Commanders. I see them more trading up with the Patriots or the Cardinals. Now, if they trade up with the Cardinals, we're taking J.J. McCarthy. Like that's just plain and simple, because at that point, most likely it would be Caleb, May, or Daniels, May, whatever the two is. And then if we see on that bottom ticker, trade, Giants take the 4th, go up to the 4th pick, or 5th pick, I'm sorry. No, 4th pick, it's J.J. McCarthy. I don't know how I feel about that. I would love Drake May more, but I can get around to it. I can get around to it.
Daniel Jones is our guy.
You still think Daniel Jones is our guy?
He's our guy.
So he's got a year left. Well, he's got more years left, but he's got a year left before we can just get rid of that contract. I know everyone wants to get rid of him. You think that you would rather another year of Daniel Jones or another few years of Daniel Jones over potentially getting another quarterback in this draft? Or would you rather see us potentially try and get a quarterback in next year's draft?
Either if it's a quarterback later, down the second round, third round, possibly. But right now, I think the best option is to stick with Daniel Jones. Get a quarterback later in this round. If not, next round. First year, second round, next year. See where that takes us.
Okay. So you're saying don't really worry about quarterback this year. Ride with Daniel Jones.
Yes, we shouldn't worry about it this year.
Okay. I can see that. And so, okay, I'll throw the question back to you. What's the best option for the Giants? Don't worry about a quarterback and take a wide receiver.
Best wide receiver.
Best wide receiver available. I like that. I'm not mad at that. I can't be mad at that. Do you have a preference of which one? Neighbors or Dunze? Or Marvin? I mean, obviously Marvin's one, but Neighbors or Dunze?
I'd pick a Dunze, but I think it might just be Neighbors, what the Giants are looking for. I guess the best option apparently is Neighbors, but I like a Dunze a lot better.
I'm back and forth, man. I don't know I was a Rome guy, then I was a Malik guy. Now I'm kind of back to Rome, but I still like Malik. I don't know. Malik Neighbors seems like he just has that just breakaway athletic speed, who's still tall too. But a Dunze is just that outside one who's just gonna go up and get it every single time. Sure-handed guys. I think he had his contested catch rate was insane, where he had I think well over 65%, or even I think it was over 70% on 50-50 ball. So it wasn't even a 50-50 ball. It was a 70-20, a 70-30 ball. If you threw it up to him, he's coming down with it. We have tried that with Kenny Galladay. Now, I think Adunze is a better separator than Kenny Galladay. So I want to steer away from that, logic. I don't want to speak that into existence, but, I think Adunze could be that guy. I'm not mad at either one at all, but Adunze might have the edge for me. I don't know. I go back and forth.
All right. Next question. Just potential teams in this draft who you might see trading up. Besides now the Giants, we just talked about that.
Right.
Any other teams?
I think I have written down first the Vikings, Broncos, and Jaguars. Two of those three teams need quarterbacks. It's obvious. The need for quarterback for both those teams is huge. The Vikings have Sam Darnold currently as their QB1, who, could be of service, but he's not a franchise quarterback. We know this. He's not a franchise quarterback. So I see the Vikings definitely trading up in this. And this, at least they're going to try to. I think they're definitely going to try to. If another team doesn't jump them, they have 2 picks in the first round. They could either trade both of those picks, which probably going to end up having to do. But I think the Vikings are definitely one of them. Broncos, another one. Do you know who their starting quarterback is right now? I have it pulled up. I'm just wondering if you know.
Well, it's not guaranteed, but I hear Wilson.
Zach Wilson. Yeah, it's listed on their depth chart, actually. Zach Wilson's the backup. Currently, it's Jarrett Stidham as their QB1. I'm pretty sure he was the backup for the Bears for that one game. I could be wrong, though. I believe he is... I'm looking him up right now, actually. No, he was with Denver last year. I'm sorry. He was with Denver last year. Yeah. So, it's not good for the Broncos. The quarterback situation is not good. They will try to trade up for a quarterback, or they're going to try and trade up, or they're going to stay where they are at third. They're at 12 right now, and I guess they could take Bo Nix. And we're going to go into that a little later, but if they feel like their guy is Bo Nix and he's not going to go up in the draft, they'll just stay where they are. Or they could even trade back. But I can see the Broncos trying to trade up if they really want their elite guy like a Drake May, Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy. Broncos, definitely. And then my third team is the Jaguars. And I say the Jaguars because they need wide receiver help. They lost out on Calvin Ridley. They have a couple depth guys. Gabe Davis is like probably their one. They had Zay Jones, Christian Kirk. Serviceable, but they could want to try and just go for the big fish. They could try and go up and get a guy, get Neighbors, get a Dunze, like get one of those top guys, especially if they feel out like that 4 quarterbacks went off the board off rip. They could feel like, okay, our guy is still there, or one of the big guys is still there. Our only shot right now is to go up and trade for him. And they could do that. And I can see that happen. I can see a world where the Jaguars trade up to try and get like a Dunze or Neighbors. I don't really see Marvin. They asked for trade up pretty high. They could trade up with the Cardinals and do that, but I don't know. I think they are definitely a team to watch, though.
Yeah, Jaguars is an interesting team, especially after last year. I'm pretty sure no one still knows what the heck happened to that season. They were in first place, along with other people in the rest of the other divisions, but they're up there. It was just like a moving cycle between the top 4 teams, and out of nowhere, I don't know how many games they lost in a row, but it just blown up.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I think this is the contract year for Trevor Lawrence. And if they think he's their guy, they're probably going to pay him a lot of money. What's not to say that they're not going to try and give him the best possible scenario to be competitive? Their offense doesn't look bad. Their O-line is solid. Travis Etienne's still in the backfield. They got Tank Bigsby. Evan Ingram's tight end. Like they still have some guys, but if they can want to try and trade up and really give Trevor Lawrence another really good weapon because they foresee him as their franchise guy, I feel like that can make sense. So I think the Jaguars are definitely on trade up watch.
All right. Last question before we wrap it up. Just top 15 draft picks in the 2024 NFL draft. Let me hear them.
So this is no trades. I'll talk through a couple. We kind of talked through a lot of them, but I'll just kind of no trades, just straight up who I think will go and kind of who I think should, what teams should do. So number 1, Caleb Williams, no brainer. I don't even gotta say anything about that. It's Caleb Williams. There we go. Commanders, Drake May. Commanders take Drake May. They find their answer at quarterback. They find their guy. I think he kind of will be starting day one if I remember. I actually don't remember who else is there as their other quarterback, to be honest.
Heineke.
Is Heineke back? Oh, I think it's Jacoby Brissett. It's Mariota, Jacoby Brissett. I think Heineke is Marcus Mariota and Jacoby Brissett are like the quarterbacks. Got Jake Fromm and Jeff Driscoll too, but
Georgia Jake Fromm.
Wow. There you go. Yeah, Georgia Jake Fromm was there. But so that'd be good. I think Brissett or Martin Mariota will be the starter. And those are 2 other guys who actually I think that's a nice little 2 veteran quarterbacks who, I'm not saying like they're elite, but like, they've been around the block a few times. They can definitely guide Drake May into, to guide him to actually reach his potential and tap into that. So I like that for the Commanders. 3, Patriots, Jayden Daniels. They also need a quarterback bad. They need a quarterback. They answer their quarterback needs with a stud Jayden Daniels. Like I said before, I could see the Giants trading up here. If in this case, if Drake May goes 2, I don't see that happening. I don't know if I see the Giants taking Jayden Daniels here. Because I don't think they would take J.J. McCarthy here at 3. Because I think they would rather trade with the Cardinals at 4. But once again, no trades. Cardinals, 4th pick, Marvin Harrison Jr. They get their number 1 guy, lost Hollywood Brown. Obviously they haven't really had someone to just throw the ball up to, and just when you need a big conversion, since really D-Hop was there. Marvin Harrison Jr. is their answer, and he's a stud, and he's probably the best prospect in this draft. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a Cardinal. 5, I got the Chargers. I went back and forth with this one. It could either be Malik Neighbors or it's one of the O-linemen. It could be Joe Alt, but also Rashawn Slater is there. And they play the same position, so that who moves. Slater probably stays there. Alt might move to, I think they both play left tackle, I think, and then so Alt would be a right tackle. And that's two different positions. Like that's, it's all tackle, but it's two different positions. So they could definitely do that. I said they take Neighbors. The wide receiver, they need help at wide receiver. Their wide receiver room consists of Quentin Johnson and Joshua Palmer. Not good. I forget the third wide receiver, but they got rid of Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. They need help there. Malik Neighbors is number 5. 6, I got the Giants taking Rome Odunze. They take Rome Odunze here. Once again, no trade-ups. They get their surefire X-wide receiver. All reliable right there for Daniel Jones or their backup quarterback. That's Drew Lock. That Odunze is the man. And Titans, Joe Alt. Like that's the most Titans pick of all time too. Everyone has the Titans taking Joe Alt here. Even trades or not, like Joe Alt seems to be the guy right here. And Brian Callahan's a new offensive coordinator, or he's a lineman coach over there. He's gonna want Joe Alt. He's gonna make this kid an All-Pro. He might be an All-Pro year 1. I swear, he's that type of talent. Joe Alt is gonna be a stud, and it's perfect for him in Tennessee. Then for number 9, also they're gonna take an edge guy. I went back and forth if it's Latu or Dallas Turner. I think as of late, the recent buzz is Latu goes there. I think Latu might be better as well. So I'm going to say the Falcons take Latu. They answer their needs at edge, get a really talented edge guy who has just such quick hands. He's extremely well at hand fighting and winning those battles. So Latu is going at number 8. Bears with their second pick in their top 10. Also another one where if Neighbors wasn't picked here, it doesn't. The teams after the Giants, like the Giants pick either Dunze or Neighbors. The Titans and the Falcons aren't going wide receiver. They theoretically could take Neighbors or Dunze, but even if that still was the case, I think they should go O-line. I think they get Troy Fatua, and they really just try and help out Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has the weapons already. Keenan Allen's a really good wide receiver. DJ Moore, excellent wide receiver. It doesn't matter if he has no time back there. It's just going to be like USC. So I think taking a tackle here, or rather an O-lineman, is the correct pick. It just makes sense. And it's actually, I'm sorry, it's Talise Fuaga. Troy Fatuna. Yeah, Fuaga's the other guy. Fautano I think is the next best O-lineman in this draft. So Fatuna. And then the Jets, another one I went back and forth on. If I have them either taking Fuaga or Brock Bowers. And I ended up on Brock Bowers. The Jets did a really good job in the offseason of building their defense, getting enough guys for the O-line that should be fine. I think just having another tight end, having an actual for surefire offensive firepower like Brock Bowers is perfect for them. Another target for Rodgers to throw to. He's never really had a really stud tight end before. Even in Green Bay, they were never known for their tight ends. I think Tunyon had a lot of touchdowns for him, but I think Greg Jennings, he was good for Green Bay, but I think Bowers is a much better prospect than Greg Jennings. So they could go O-line here. Either they could go J.C. Latham. They could go Fuaga, but I think Brock Bowers just really gives Rodgers another weapon. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was someone that's on my mind, but I don't think he spent too much time with the Green Bay. I think he was more with the Saints. I think it was Jimmy Graham. I think he was more with the Saints, right?
Was he on? He was. That's what he was known for. You're right. He was on Green Bay for a little bit. Yeah, you're right. I think that was towards the end of his career. But Jimmy Graham, was he a Bear? Was he a Packer? I know he was a Bear too. Definitely a Saint.
I just remember his headshot being him, shaved head, pretty much.
Yeah, I think. Let me. He was on the Packers. Yes. There's a picture right now. Yeah.
Probably near the end of his career.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Right. So now number 12. I don't see 11. Got the Vikings. As I mentioned, this is a team that could trade up, but if we're saying they don't trade up, and in this case, J.J. McCarthy is still on the board, they got their guy. I think they still get a quarterback who is going to be very much startable for them. J.J. McCarthy looks like a really good quarterback. It still could be a really good quarterback. It's a good system. I believe there's a coach. I think Kevin O'Connell, coached J.J. McCarthy at some point in his career. I remember hearing that somewhere. So that connection is there. So the relationship with the connection is definitely there. They get their guy, especially no trades. Like no one really trades up for him. The Vikings don't need to trade up for him. J.J. McCarthy lands right in their laps at 11. 12, back-to-back quarterbacks. Broncos take Bo Nix here. There was talks already about how Sean Payton liked Bo Nix. Bo Nix goes up at 12. Now, they definitely could trade back here. And they could trade back with, the Colts if the Colts want their corner. But this could be where the Jaguars maybe trade up. But, the top 3 wide receivers aren't there anymore, but most likely wouldn't be there anymore. But I don't know. I think that Bo Nix, it just seems like he's going to be a Bronco. It seemed like that in the beginning of the year. That definitely could be smoke. But I think the Broncos desperately need a quarterback. Bo Nix is their guy. Now, 13, the Raiders they need help at O-line. They take Talise Fuaga here. And, they lost their tackle to the Giants this past free agency. So they just, they need to fill that hole with Fuaga. So Fuaga is definitely the pick here at 13. Now, last 2 picks, Saints. Once again, there's going to be a lot this draft. A lot of O-linemen, a lot of wide receivers. And obviously the top quarterbacks. But once again, Fashanu, he's next. They need help at another tackle. They have Ryan Ramczyk, who I think there's a chance he doesn't play because of injuries. So they definitely need help at whoever is back there at quarterback. Fashanu is for sure a good option. And lastly, the Colts. This is another interesting pick. But I think here they go corner, and they take Quinyon Mitchell. Now, I actually think that Nate Wiggins is a better corner. But I think what I'm hearing is that the Colts run more of a zone scheme, and Quinyon Mitchell is definitely better playing off coverage. Nate Wiggins is that strap down, put him on an island, no one's catching it. Sauce Gardner, Prime Darrell type corner, which is one-on-one, man-to-man. Quinyon Mitchell is definitely more of a zone guy. And I think that fits the Colts scheme a little bit better. So they'll be more apt to take Quinyon Mitchell here. But I do think Nate Wiggins is a better corner. So whatever team next needs a really good corner, they're going to be happy that Nate Wiggins is still on the board. And that's my top 15 right there. And once again, no trades. I definitely think trades will happen. But I think that if nothing were to happen, this is kind of how I see it going.
Thank you very much. Anything else you have to say about the for chess?
Listen, as I said before about the Giants, I'm hopeful. I'm excited. Whatever we do, I'm sure I trust Joe Shane and that he knows the best interests of the Giants. Of course, he knows he's been doing this for a living, obviously. I don't want to be disappointed. I am not going to try and be disappointed on whoever we take. I'm excited. I literally have no idea what could happen. We'll see. Hour and a half till draft time as of recording this. So I don't know. I'm excited about it, and I don't know. And we're gonna see what happens. Our franchise could be decided with this very draft.
Yeah. Draft is coming up in an hour and a half. Knicks basketball. We're both Knicks fans here. Not
Big
talk
Knicks
about
fans.
that, but they're playing Game 3 against the Sixers in Philadelphia in half an hour. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it. So Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you real soon.
Peace.
How long did we talk for? I was yapping.
No, it was fine. He's probably just gonna get the first 15, but I'll probably post the rest of that.
Jesus. How actually long was that?
45 minutes.
Fuck me. Jesus Christ. Big one.